you? How is everyone? Is everyone having a good day, good evening, good afternoon? YouTube's been a little messy today, so I'm just gonna know that the notifications might be a mess. So if you catch this in the replay, hey guys, it's me, it's Katie. I am going to be talking about a number of different topics tonight, but I just got a new sweatshirt. This was by accident, but there's this whole drama that just is going on right now with James Charles and Ethan and Gila Klein. And when it all broke earlier this month, I went online and I bought one of Gila's sweatshirts. And it's funny because it just so happened to arrive on the day that Sisters merch launches. And we're going to talk about that because it's a utter mess. So, okay. Let me get started. All right. So I didn't do a recap for the Duggars. So hi guys, if you're brand new. The season finale was this last week, Tuesday, and not a lot happened. We already know that Justin and Claire are now courting, but the biggest news is that Bob Duggar has officially entered midlife crisis age, and he is now spotted driving a convertible. It's like a three-wheeler sort of, I don't even know, utility sports car convertible. So there's this thing about like once men hit a certain age, they like have to do things to remind themselves that they're young. And for some reason, they get red convertibles. And I don't know what it is about that. I'm not sure what the significance it is with getting a red convertible. That means that you have like officially hit midlife crisis mode. But I'm pretty sure that Bob Duggar, Jimmy Dog, Mad Dog Jimmy has reached that. It looks like a spider. It's a viper, you think? No, they said he traded it in. I don't think it's a viper. I can't remember what they called it. They said one of the kids traded it in and he was gonna take Shelly for a spin. I don't know what it was, like 3 wheels. So it had 2 wheels in the front and 1 wheel in the back. And he was wearing sunglasses and he was just like trying to look super cool. So if you're ever like, oh, but he's such a good Christian. Yeah, there's Jimmy. Look at that smile on his face. Ugh. It's like too big. He's like a little bit too excited. So sometimes when men hit this age, they get their red convertible and then they get rid of their wives. So do you think that he's not only going to get a red convertible, do you also think he's going to trade in Renegade Shelly for a newer model? Because hell, he could still have children. Shelly's, store is closed, but his isn't. I mean, he could work and have tons of kids, more kids if he wanted to. Meanwhile, they had to wear hand-me-down clothes. Correct. So he is such a loser, you said. Okay. So that's what we've got on Bob Duggar. I was like, here is a more complete photo of what it looks like. I don't know what... He was really excited about it. And he was all like, I'm going to take Shelly for it in the car, blah, blah, blah. I was like, whatever. It's like a 3-wheeled motorcycle. Yeah, pretty much. But Jimmy was calling it a convertible. All right. So let's now move on to the next topic because this one we're going to be on for a while. Okay. So as you can see, I have a Teddy Fresh hoodie on. By the way, super comfy. My only complaint is that these little things are a little bit stiff, but I'm hoping in time they will get a bit looser. Literally brand new, super comfy, super heavyweight, expensive, but I'd say worth the price. These are designed by Gila. She actually has her own clothing line where she actually does all of the designs herself. Now, this wouldn't be an issue if James Charles didn't launch his own clothing brand looking damn near identical to these, and it's not a, people are going to confuse it. That's the concern about Ethan, from Ethan and Gila. So there's his photo, and then this was Ethan on his TikTok, and he said because Teddy Fresh made it first in 2017, and these launched in 2017, and she has a variety. It's a variety of sweatshirts, hoodies, t-shirts, just colorful, playful like clothing. She has a creative mind. She does all the designs herself. It's cute, and they come with these like super cute tags. And then and then a little sticker. So this is okay. So anyways, I bought this not because I wanted to. I'm just doing this to support Gila. Anyways, you can get knockoffs if you don't want to spend the money. I just think it's cute. Anyways, so this is how it all starts out. He goes off and he says, James basically admits that he ripped off. So Ethan drops a bunch of, hold on. I gotta actually scroll through these. I'm a little bit out of order here. Oops. Oh wait, it's right here. Okay. So it starts with this. Gila shares a post on hers, and then Ethan does too. Okay. So over here, he says, I guess I might as well share how the behind the scenes is. This was my first sketch of the color block hoodie from 2017 before they had a logo for TF. And in the other pic, the pink one, this is usually how I work on my color palettes. And then he wrote, I don't know, I know we didn't invent the color blocking, but I've had a hard time with the new James Charles merch. It's the same exact design as Gila's. Combined with the fact that his audience is so huge, many people will assume he designed it and start accusing us of plagiarism. What do you think? So obviously he's right. They did not invent it. Color blocking has been around for a very long time. I mean, it was first introduced back in, I think, the 60s with those block dresses. And then it was huge it was huge in the 1990s. So I just think it's odd because it does look very similar. And his concern is that James's platform is enormous. Now, their platform isn't small by any means, but it's a lot smaller than James. So James has like 22 million on his YouTube channel. He's got over 22 million on TikTok. He's got over 20 some million on his Instagram. This man has over 60 million people on all these different platforms following him, much larger than theirs. So even though this has been around longer, people might get confused by it, even though it doesn't say sisters. So that was their concern. So then he went out ahead and he shares this, and he says, James basically admits that his team ripped us off, but said it's fine because we don't have the same fan base or demographic. And he said, why am I sharing this? I think it's worth showing that he admits he ripped us off with all the people who have been denying it. I have no desire to take legal action, so this is the closest I can get to some sense of justice before he sells 1 billion of these. And he has gone on a war path when someone has ripped off his makeup. All of our fans who will be wearing their color block will now be mistaken as James Charles fans. That actually happened to me. So I posted a photo and someone actually said this because his launch today. Oh my God, the new James Charles merch. That literally happened on my Instagram today. So he is not wrong in assuming that people would get it confused. It's throwback to like late 80s, early 90s. Color block was really big in the 90s, but it was also goes all the way back to the 60s. Color block dresses were way back in the 60s. So Then he goes ahead and he releases a bunch of screenshots from James, which says, looking closer at the screenshot that you just sent me, I will give you the heads up that one of the colorways we're doing is actually an exact copy of your purple, tan, and pink and teal hoodie you guys have. I designed the pastel one based on a Nike hoodie, but my design team pitched me a bunch of colorways. Once we decided on doing a color block collection, I liked the one and I said yes. Once again, not being familiar with your brand or hoodie. The units have been produced for a while now, so there's nothing I can do, but I'll definitely be speaking to them because although I didn't copy anything, they certainly may have. So he's admitting that he didn't copy anyone, but his team might have ripped off Ethan. Not only that, does he also admit that he designed an entire other hoodie and he ripped it off from Nike. Now, in the world of fashion, it's not uncommon to do inspired looks from other designers, but blatant thievery is not typically recommended. I mean, it happens, and nobody owns like the copyright of clothes, you know? But it's in really poor taste, especially when you are on the same platform, to have merchandise that looks identical to somebody else on the platform. Not to mention, James has actually called other people out for doing this to him with his palettes. I'll speak with my team now, so I'll keep you updated on what they say. And then he said, well, not really sure what to say. The hoodie is pretty much our hallmark as our brand. But now I'm learning that more than one is knocked off, so I'm a little speechless, I guess. So then when he was sort of backed into a corner, instead of apologizing, James says, once again, the main hoodie in the collection isn't knocked off. I had a different source of inspiration and has different color body and a different color pocket, and a logo is completely different. I don't understand how this kid justifies ripping off other brands and then just putting things in different spots and being like, but I made it, you know? Anyways, I'm starting to feel like he just steals. Like, there's always been these accusations that he steals his makeup looks from smaller creators and then doesn't credit them. And I feel like he's gotten away with that so much that now it's just like, well, now I'll just create clothing that looks like everybody else's, but I'll just say that it's inspired by. MEG says, I work as a fast fashion designer, and it is much more common to be ripped off by fast fashion than someone like James. And yeah, that's the thing, is you can find these fast fashions. So there's brands on Amazon that do fast fashion, that do knockoffs like this. But for a designer or a brand like James to literally rip off another creator is the part that's kind of astonishing. And when you actually Google color block hoodies, prior to this launch, the most popular one that comes up is the Teddy Fresh. So they kind of made these things trendy back in 2017 and they've gotten a really like good, they've, you know, with like skaters and that whole skater industry, skater kids. So then James doubles down and he says, there's only so many colors you can put into an eyeshadow. Okay, so then he shares this. This is how James reacts when he thinks he's getting ripped off, right? So back in 2019, early Wet n Wild comes out with a sort of makeup palette that looks similar to James's like Morphe palette. Now, you guys, eyeshadow palettes are a dime a dozen, and they all can look similar, to be honest. They all have different formulas. They all sort of go on your body different, or on your skin different. But a lot of them have similar like color structures, and they look, you know, whatever. So he says like there's only so many colors you can put into an eyeshadow palette, and I'm not claiming to own specific colors. But when you copy the exact shades and then layout from my palette without even trying to hide it, and then Ethan said this, for context, a company made a palette with colors very similar to his. So here is what James actually wrote back in 2019. And these are the two palettes side by side. I believe the one on the bottom is his through Morphe, and the one on the top is the one through Wet n Wild. And he said the T is that knockoff from low quality brands will always exist in the makeup industry. I like how he like literally like calls Wet n Wild low quality when he literally is with Morphe, who's the makeup is made in China and it's not any better than Wet n Wild. I mean, I have so many people that say they love Wet n Wild. This is just crazy because I never looked at Wet n Wild as a low quality brand. They have good products at an affordable price, which is very important for the industry, but I truly thought they had more integrity. Not only did they rip off my hard work and creativity, but they also partake in party Twitter comments and bullying. It's disappointing to say the least, and I don't own any colors, and I certainly wasn't the first to create a rainbow palette. There are many rainbow palettes before mine, and there will continue to be more after mine, and that makes me happy. I want makeup fans to play with color and express themselves. I'm certainly not offended they used another palette like mine. That being said, I spent over a year conceptualizing, designing, and selecting the colors, the formulas, the shooting the photos, working on the music, my commercial to create the marketing campaign for the palette. A rainbow palette had been done before, but a palette that could be used as an artist of any skill level to create all steps of any makeup look had not been done before, and that is why my palette was something unique to the market and became a hit. This new palette is not just a rainbow palette, it's the exact low quality, cheap knockoff and a sad ploy to capitalize on cancel culture. I will not pretend that I am not a stranger to being called out for copying a few times during my career. This does not age well at all. He's just like, this is so bad. Anyways, I recognize the irony here, but whether past situations were unintentional or an honest oversight, I have always righted my wrongs, and I have supported smaller artists at the end of the day. Copying is the sincerest form of flattery, but I hope brands take notes. Okay, so he basically admits that he copies other small designers and that, oh, he's just inspired. And plus, copying is a sincere form of flattery. But if Wet n Wild does it to him, and by the way, the colors are not the same. They're similar, but not the same. Like they're just not. The blues are different. The greens are completely different shades. The purples are different hues. Even the yellows, like it's not identical. And I'm sorry to say, but the black palette, that black large palette, is not unique at all. ColourPop uses it. It's a staple for Morphe. So the black palette for Morphe, that's just what they all look like. Go to a Ulta, you will see all of the black palettes by Morphe. So is he saying that he designed the black palette, or did Morphe? Right? I mean, Tati's palette looks in the exact same type of case. Everyone uses the black palette. Court B says, what's mine is mine and what everyone else's is mine. That's how James thinks. Yeah. He's always been like this. Yes. So then his response is, when you DM'd me yesterday, I sent you the original photo that inspired my collection, and I explained I've never seen your brand, but I also asked what you wanted me to do. You didn't reply. After last year, I vowed to keep conversations private and create solutions, not drama. Now, I read you what he literally said to Ethan, and that doesn't sound like what you want me to do about it. It more sounds like, well, I'm not going to do anything about it because our demographics are totally the same and we probably did copy you. So then today, this is what launches. His color block collection, okay? Now, Ethan points out this, that Larry, oops, I'm having some trouble here. That Larry, his friend, is wearing and modeled for Gila. So he was part of one of her like lines that she did when she did some photos for Teddy Fresh, and now he is modeling for James Charles in similar clothing. And then Larry responds by saying, and I know it's Larry or Larry, he says, as someone who loves your brand, I will never say me and James did not know I will say James and I did not know each other at the time I posted those photos. Second, don't bring me into any of this. If you have an issue with James, please handle it with James privately. I'll admit he tweeted and deleted that very fast. So it's pretty ridiculous if you think about it. So I don't know what your thoughts are. Now, sure, did it probably bring more attention to Teddy Fresh? Yes, but I don't think that's really the issue here, and I don't think that's why I really don't think that this is about drama for them. I think this is something that, you know, she's put a lot of time and effort into. She's spent a lot of her hours creating and crafting Teddy Fresh. She has created sort of this niche of clothing, and he is a creator on the same platform now, putting out clothing that looks damn near identical. So, yeah, okay. So then, I don't know what your thoughts are. Do you guys think this is a copy, or do you not think this is a copy? Will James ever learn, or will James not learn? Is this blatant, or was this accidental? I feel like it's too coincidental that these look so similar, that even the color schemes are so similar. And Jemima's right, a model is just a model. I'm getting hot, now I gotta take this off. So now that I'm done with this part of the, all right, this is a really thick, very thick sweatshirt. Not a copy. Okay. I'm sick of these claiming they invented the wheel. Perhaps. It's a blatant ripoff, says XOXOXO. Okay. Interesting. I'm just going to see if there's any other things in here. Okay, so that's what I have for that. In terms of questions from the chat, I'm not going to be answering questions because I have a ton of stuff to cover. So if you have specific questions for me and you want me to answer them, you can always email me any concerns, questions, or tips to withoutacrystalball78, but anything unrelated I can't address because I have a lot to cover in this live stream. Okay, so next up we've got Kanye West. So, okay, hold on. Oh yeah, so here's the comment about the merch. Okay, where is it? All right, Kanye West. So who of you are actually going to be doing absentee ballots? Have you gotten your absentee ballot yet? Have you voted yet? Have you filled out your voting stuff? So okay, so Kanye West is on the ballot in Minnesota. And I was like, dude, Kanye West, get off my ballot. Seriously, Kanye. This week, he's fighting with Adidas, The Gap, his Universal record label, and he wants to be on the board at The Gap. He wants to be on the board at Adidas. He wants to own his masters. He wants to change the entire music industry. And on top of all of that, he's still pretending to run for president. It's such a mockery. It's such a disgrace. It's just ridiculous that he is taking up a space on my ballot. And I just had to like get that off of my chest because I was so irritated when I saw this. And it's ridiculous. I did not vote for him. I already completed my voting. Most of you that know me will know who I voted for. I'm not saying publicly, but y'all know who I voted for, I'm sure. Okay. So, he has been like on this Twitter warpath. Now, here's the weird thing, you guys. He is like fighting with everyone. So he wants his masters. He wants the property of what he's done. Now he's saying that he has this $100 million deal with the Gap to put out merchandise. And he says, I'm not releasing anything on Gap till I'm on the board. So they're offering him $100 million to put out a clothing line. But now he's saying, unless you put me on the board at your company, I'm not releasing anything. Sometimes the optics here are just so ridiculous to me because he's showing DMs that and text messages from people where he's essentially calling himself a slave. At the same time, he has $100 million contracts with multiple companies and a multi-million-dollar record label, and how is this a thing? Not to mention last week, he ended up having to, he peed on his Grammy. I think I showed you guys that. So he actually put one of his Grammys in the toilet and then he went to the bathroom on top of it. And he is trying to get Taylor Swift to help him. He is trying to get every musician to help him get his masters. And he's got so many things that are going on at one time that it's starting to get annoying to me. Like, I'm like, so now you're going to fight with the Gap. Now you're fighting with this person. Now you're fighting with that person. And meanwhile, he's got a family. He's apparently in Wyoming. His wife and his children are in California. And he's not being a father because he's busy on Twitter fighting with everyone. And he's not taking his medication. He's not adhering to his medical plans. And now Kim is going to divorce him or something. I feel like she's going to divorce him every other day. And she's disappointed that he's having another meltdown. And she can't make him actually, like, do anything about it. So my question is, why is he still on the ballots? He's clearly not running for president. He's doing nothing. He's not doing any campaign rallies. He's not been to Minnesota trying to convince us to vote for him. He's not doing anything on his Twitter or any of his social media for running for president. He's not putting any time, effort, or resources into it. And yet he's still on my ballot. Why? Why are you still on my ballot, Kanye? Get off my ballot. He is unwell for sure. I can't for the life of me understand. He's in Wyoming, right? And so he shares a photo and he's like, I watched this movie on replay. And there are people surrounding him. So he is at his ranch in Wyoming. There's tons of people there with him. And is there no one in his life that ever tells him no? Is there no one in his life that's like really, really constantly like urging him? I worry. I don't understand this. She says, I used to feel bad for Kanye, not anymore. A new episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians is on tonight. I was at Dave Chappelle's on Friday. Kanye is his best friend, and Dave said, please don't vote for him. Well, if Dave Chappelle says not to vote for him, you should not vote for Kanye West. Kanye is on the ballot to try to drive votes away from Biden. He said so himself. Well, I did not vote for Kanye. I did not vote for him at all. So I'm sure there is so much going on behind the scenes, and Kim's apparently getting ready for divorce if she has to, but she doesn't want to divorce him, apparently, allegedly, who knows. You know, a couple months ago when he said the stuff about Northwest, she said these sources were saying the same thing. They're not living together. They're not really together at all. They're in marriage. They're like married in name at this point, from what I can tell, because she's not in Wyoming with him. He's not in California with her. They're not together. She's basically raising the kids by herself. That makes me feel bad for the kids. His brain, I would imagine his brain feels very tired. I understand why Kanye is doing this, for sure. I just wish he would get off the ballot. And he's not on the ballot in many states, thank goodness. And Minnesota is not a swing state. So Minnesota doesn't ever, I can't even remember a time in my entire life where the state of Minnesota actually flipped Republican for the president. So it won't matter here because Minnesota never votes, or the state never elects or puts out electoral for Republicans here. We are a very, very blue state for the presidency. Kanye needs to get on his meds. Medication is useful and helpful for things that he can actually need it when he talks. Therapy and natural remedies aren't working any longer. Yeah, at some point you start to talk about enabling in situations like this. So if people are just not doing anything and he's being enabled to stay this way, that certainly can become a factor. I'm not an expert in mental health issues, but I do know that if you have yes people around you and you have a lot of money, it's probably going to be really hard to make him do just about anything. He was late to get into the presidential election, yes. He missed the ballot for dozens and dozens of states. He will not even be able to make the 270 electoral votes. There's no way that he can win. He was tossed out of multiple states. Dave lives in Ohio. I'm in Ohio. He said, please don't vote for Kanye. He said the guy is ill. Obviously, he's sick right now. I just really, really hope that he can get help and get better. So, Kanye, just get off my ballot. But that was my digression there. And let me see here. Okay, so then the last thing, he needs to stay out of politics. My makeup and hair are on point tonight. Oh, okay, this is not sponsored, but I got a brand new palette. My first Natasha Denona. And this is their glam palette. It's actually brand new at Sephora. So I'm wearing this today. It has like grays and browns. And it's really funny because this brown is in my crease, but it looks gray. Isn't that funny? It's not though. So it's sort of a neutral glam palette. I'm loving it. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I love neutrals, so it's been kind of fun to play. And I think I'm officially converted. They're expensive, but they have really good pigment. Better than anything I've tried before. So yes, that's at Sephora, and I am not sponsored. So that was just literally me plugging them. I really enjoyed that. I know I've never, ever, ever tried one of her palettes, but yes, I'm going to get the Biba. One of my friends told me that I would never buy another brand after I bought a Natasha one. And I feel like throwing away all of my Too Faced because these are so good. I'm going to get the Biba one. She has a lot of different options. And then apparently there's another person, Pat McGrath, that also has very good videos. The thing with Natasha is she has a YouTube channel. So she actually does a lot of video tutorials for what to do. But the cool thing about this palette back to this, is that it actually has like things on it. Says center eyelid, outer eyelid, inner out eyelid, crease, transition, smoke, blend, lash line. So it kind of tells you like where you can put things. You don't have to do it in that order at all, but it gives you sort of a basis of understanding. And then Natasha has a ton of different, she has a bunch of different tutorials. Too Faced is like Barbie makeup compared to Natasha. Yeah. So until recently, I'd been hooked on this, a Too Faced palette. But now having tried this with the amount, yeah, Pat McGrath. I love Huda's too. But you don't have to use, I feel like on this palette with the Too Faced, I have to use 10 different colors to build to the color that I want. And with this, I don't have to do any buildup. I can just put one color in my crease. The color stays for hours, and I love it. Yeah, so one of my subscribers told me I need to check out Pat McGrath. Their palettes are super expensive, but yeah, I might have to. Apparently they have a new, apparently there's a new Christmas palette out by Pat McGrath. So there's that. Oh, and then I got some new lip glosses, so. Auntie Pat is so good. Pat McGrath. Is it Auntie? Oh, that's Pat. Auntie Pat. You love some, I have, which one is this? This is the Glam palette. This is her, it's like the newer one that's out at Sephora right now. I love it. You feel a sponsorship coming on? Huh, maybe. Either way, not a big deal, not a big thing. Okay. Yes, Jim Bob got a big manhood extension, and okay, double win. It's $65 for the Natasha Denona palettes. So definitely not cheap, but super worth it. And these palettes last forever, to be honest. Okay, and then I'm trying to think if I had anything else. Were there any other stories that I was working on? Okay. Were there any other stories I was working on? Oh, so Jessa Duggar literally went to, so I did this video on Jessa basically being a mean girl to Jill with Ginger last night. Because Jill did the Q&A, and then Ginger and Jessa were like super like, we have the best relationship. And then because Jill stumbled yesterday, look who showed up at her house today. Jessa Blessa stopped by. Jessa Blessa brought her a pumpkin spice latte, probably with a lot of guilt of, you need to stop telling everyone that we're not supportive, Jill. We're super supportive. You're just going to go to hell. That's how I imagine Jessa talking. It's so precious, Jill, that you're going to hell. Because that's how she always says precious. It's just so precious that your nose ring is going to put you in hell, Jill. Yes. So, Jessa Blessa, Judgy Jessa. Oh, that's what you just sent me? Yes, I see that from you. I'm getting it from literally everyone. I probably have received it 10 times today. More than that, 20. So many. Every time I turn around. And people are like, I think she's following you. I think she's watching you. Don't think. No. Know that they are. At least Jimmy is. Now, Jessa will do this just because she wants to stay on Jim Bob's good graces and she wants a new house. And she's also the like damage control woman for the family because that's what Jessa does. So I have not been on my other channel lately. I've not had the time. And I actually went to the doctor yesterday and I have to have surgery. So I'm gonna have to take like a couple weeks off coming up, and I don't know when. So I about 10 years ago I had an implant put in my chin because my jaw is like super small, and it was to help just sort of correct the asymmetry that was on my face. My father had suggested it after he had a surgery to like do the same thing for him. And the implant has actually moved, and it's like hanging down here now, and I can feel it, and it's uncomfortable. So I went to I went to the surgeon yesterday, and they said that we have to actually like take it out and then put it back in into it. It's like the implant is fine, it's just slipped out. Yeah, I'm okay. I can just feel it. It's weird. It's been in there for a very long time. But it's like down here now, which is why it looks lopsided. So it's over time has just sort of slipped out. And he said it's like never happened before in all of the years that he's done these. So he was saying that like we have to like find a new pocket. It's not a balloon one. No, it's silicone. Or I don't even know if it's silicone. It's just it's like a plastic. I don't even know. It is fixable. But it sucks because it's like right here. And so the swelling is so bad. And it hurts to talk after you have it done. And it's really, Stephanie, I don't know where you're blocked. I don't have any idea, but I'll respond to you on Twitter. Yeah, not looking forward. I know you would think it'd be set in stone. So it's not, it's painful only because like it's right by your mouth. So they have to like, it's like right by nerves by your mouth. And then like if you think about when you talk, like think of how much you use your mouth and your jaw to speak and then to eat. So for like the first week, it just hurts to talk. And then after the swelling goes down, it feels like your skin is stretched out. My skin has already been stretched out, so I think that part of it won't hurt. It's more just having to do the surgery that I'm not looking forward to. I know. And then trying to figure out a time to do it. But I'd rather be transparent. I did get this put in. It has helped immensely. Especially like I had a huge overbite, and once I got the overbite corrected, everything just looked really, it was a mess. It's like my genetics, a super small jaw. So my doctor and my dad were like, the implant will help with that. I know. But it's amazing because I shared that with other people and they said I've had the same thing done for the exact same reason. So I was like, well, I'm not the only one that has this recommended. It's amazing what they can do to help like clean up I don't know. The healing process is pretty wild. I'll basically be sleeping for like 3 days. Yeah, I'll have to figure out when I'm going to schedule it. Yes, they can do it outpatient. It's only a half an hour. It's literally only like a 25-minute thing where he just goes in and he fixes it. It's just that it's on the muscles of your jaw, so it's sore. But the good thing is he did a really good job. It just slipped. I don't blame him for this. I've talked to other people where it's happened. And he can use the same implant. So, oh yeah, you can see my silver play button is in the back. And it's not going to be as expensive because I get a discount. So he felt really bad, really bad. But he was confident that he can fix it. So I'm okay. Oh, teeth issues. That sounds terrible, Brie. So bad. All right, you guys. So to keep this wrapped up, I love James, but yeah, it was a copy. Tell me what your thoughts are about Jimmy's red convertible. Is he gonna trade in Shelly for a younger model? And then in terms of the James Charles thing, is it a copy or is it not? And Kanye West's ballot and ultimatum. What do you think about all of it? All right, you guys, I'll be back later. Bye.